Welcome to this week's session with the Putnam County District Library and the Guiding Ohio Online Grant. We are going to be looking at Google Forms today. This project was supported in whole or in part by the Federal Institute of Museum and Library Services funds, granted through the State Library of Ohio. The opinions expressed herein do not necessarily reflect the position or policy of the Institute of the Museum or the State Library of Ohio, and no official endorsement by either agency should be inferred. So looking at Google Forms is available from your Google account, and whether it's a free account, a business account, you can use Google Forms. They're an easy way to create forms and surveys where you can gather data and insight, send them to others to fill out, then analyze the responses. So if you go to your Google account, you'll see here where my 9 dots are located with my Google Apps. When I click on that, I'm just simply going to go down to Forms. When I go to Forms, I'm going to see at the very top going across to just the ability to start a new form. You can do blank, or you have these templates. Down below is where you are going to see what you have created in the past, always having anything you did today at the top, and then you're going to see earlier as you go down the page. This can be in a list form or a grid view, whichever way you would choose. So if I change it over to grid view, this is what you're going to see. If I change it back to list, I also have the ability to sort my options by last modified, by the title, and make it alphabetized. However, I might choose to have that. So what we're going to do to start off is we're going to look at some of the items available in the template gallery. You'll see going across the top what I have been in terms of the gallery at the latest point here. If I go over to where my dots are, I can hide my templates, but if I click here where it says template gallery, it's going to now show all of my different options that are available. So I have education, I have personal, I have event registration, I have work. So I have all of these different options that are available. So all I had done was I simply clicked on one of these. I'm going to click on party invite. Great easy way to create party information that you might want to send out to others. So what you are going to get is it's simply going to be titled party invite. I always suggest, since this is a template, make sure you change whatever you want this to be. So I'm going to put party invite, and I'm going to put PCD L for the library. Notice what it then we have what it is always looks like the gibberish information, because this is where we would type in our information. But the one thing I want you to make notice of, I changed my title here. I did not change it up here. Again, I would make sure that you retitle this, because otherwise you're going to always just have party invite, party invite, party invite, and it's never going to be renamed. So you're going to have this already, the ability is already there to complete this. So what's your name? Can you attend? How many are attending? And what will you bring? So it has all of this information. You can change or add to this however you would like. So if I would say, can you attend? And let's say that I want to say, can you attend, our party? I can just make those changes. It also, I can add something. So if I wanted to add, this is where my information is that I'm working with. So I would simply go here to the plus, and it's going to add a block in. Now, with adding this block in is now where I have the option to change. How do I want this question to be visible? Do I want it as a multiple choice? Do I want it with check boxes? Do I want it as a drop down? And I can change any of this information. So I could just simply put, let's say I want to say time. I want it to something to do with time. I could change that. And now I would be able to put different times. So I don't know, for some reason, say you're having a party and it's going to start at 1 and it may be 1:30 or 2, because you want to find out what is the um, time that the most people could arrive. You could do that there, for example. This is also where you can import a question, but you're also going to be able to change your um, information here as well. You can add an image. So if I wanted to add an image, I would click here, and then I would be able to use any of the images that I might have available, be it my photos. I can upload something if I have images in my Google Drive, and I could even add a video if I so chose. So that this is where, and then you can even separate things out into sections depending on how responsive, I guess, you want things to be. You've got, speaking of responses, this is where you would go here at the top, click on responses. So once people have answered your Google form, you're going to be able to see the number of responses here, and it will link to Google Sheets. So in other words, what you will have is a Google Sheets that's available. Settings is where you go to manage any of the information. So you can make it so that if you're doing some of this involves like education, so if you're maybe wanting to do something where you assign point values, responses, how many responses are collected and protected, you can change any. This is where I would suggest, if you want to collect the information that is what the email address is for whoever's filling out your form, it's going to be set to do not collect. You can change that here. You can make it so it's verified, so it's going to grab that information of the person that is logged into their Google, or you can have the responder input that information. So that is anything with settings is where you're going to find this information. The other thing that I wanted to show you is, let's go back and let's go back to the screen where we were at with, I'm going to go out of the template gallery, and I want you to notice here where I have these created, this one has what looks like a group of people. So if I'm in, let's go to the one that's, say you wanted to do something for a job application. That's what this template is. When I complete this, if I go up here to the plus sign with the person beside it, this is where I would put that information in terms of who I want to share this with. So that is what was done back on that other template. I have that information in there, and I have that shared out with someone else. So I can make it whether that person can make changes or they could simply just view it. So in other words, if I made a form and I wanted someone to take a second look at it and verify, hey, does this look accurate? Is there anything I could change? That's where I would be able to do this. The last little bit here that I want to take a look at is, let's go back to finding one more. Find a time. We'll go to this template. When I'm in this template, then this is where across the top here, you can do add-ons. I'm not going to show add-ons today. That's a little bit more advanced, but I'm going to show you how you can customize your theme here. So if I go customize your theme, this is where I could change the coloring of my information. Notice now that is purple. If I want to click on it again, now everything becomes green. This is where I could change my style. I can do that in individual boxes, but obviously for appearance sake, you kind of want it to be uniform throughout. So notice here, these are all set to this particular style and font with this size. I could change just one, but again, for the visual purpose of things, you're kind of better off to leave it at, so that all three are the same. So if, let's say I do change, you'll notice here, now all of a sudden, this particular font in the header changed. So I could then also change it in the questions. So now notice all of a sudden my question has changed. If I wanted to change the text throughout, again, like I said, I would not recommend doing this throughout your whole form and making everything different. I'd recommend keeping those the same. And then if I go here to the little eyeball, this is where I am going to see what this form would look like to someone else. So notice this form isn't accepting responses. I haven't sent this form out yet, so it's not accepting responses. But this is what, when I gave this link out to others to complete, this is what the form, or what it would look like to them. And then, speaking of sending the form out, this is where you would go to click to get what that link is. So I have not yet published. I have to publish it first. So notice here's my purple button here. When I click on publish, it's going to publish this out. And then now I have this ability to create this link. I would always suggest you hit the shorten URL link. And again, I would also even then suggest that you maybe copy this and send it by email or something, because anything you're using here, this can get very confusing in terms of typing this information out, because you'll notice the C is capital, the Y is lowercase, the R is capital, the Z, and there's really no consistency to that. I could change that, and I could copy this information, and there are programs out there like the what are called like a bit.ly shortener or so forth, that I could change that link and make it maybe something that's a little bit more memorable than just random letters and numbers. So again, I'm going to just one more time, we'll take it back here. I'm going to go back to and just show you again where I went. I went to my Google account, I went to forms, and this is what I'm going to see when I want to create and start a new form. So that is Google Forms. I hope everyone has a great week and can find some useful information here. Thank you.